Are we live? Sounds like we might be. Looks like we might be. Music is playing. And I do believe we may in fact be live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, Wayfarer. I hope you are doing well wherever you are, whoever you are, and whenever you may be receiving this transmission. Frank Monday coming at you straight out the ghetto. Twilight Zone Old Peking, deep within the central kingdom of the Celestial Dragon, far behind the bamboo firewall. Once again, like Finnegan, we're going round and round. And so here it is here. Let's go ahead and kick off the show with a brief prayer. Holy art thou, Lord of the universe, the vast and the mighty one, creator of heaven and earth, maker of all things visible and invisible, master of both the light and the darkness, he who was, is, and shall be. We adore thee and we invoke thee. Send us one of your divine spiritual agents, our holy guardian angel, to protect and guide us through the innumerable snares of the earthly sphere and a cleansing wind to disperse all negativity and endless, odious, noxious human opinion. Teach us those secret things which we must know for the completion of the great work and the glory of thine ineffable name, Adonai. So it is commanded and confirmed. So Amen. Yeah, good magic. Take a deep breath with me on the count of 3, 2, 1. Inhale. Hold. And relax. Well, Wayfarer, the 100-day challenge, Way of the Psionic Agent, has launched off. And we are ready to get in it to win it. I hope you are doing well, Wayfarer, wherever you are. We've got Modern Magic today, 11 lessons in high magical arts, dedication to all teachers of the Path of Mysteries. Says this is the 2nd edition. We'll do a bit of an overview on it, right? Let's see here. Contents, lesson. Let's get into lesson 1 today. Why not? Like Finnegan at the beginning, once again. Getting started, dreams and dream diary, the ritual diary, tarot decks. Give me just a second, guys. There's some action going on here. All right, and I am back. Let's see what else we've got here. Major Arcana, and so on and so forth. Let's just get right into it. We'll check out the introduction a bit. Let's see, why is this going the way it's going? Not exactly sure why. Having a little bit of technical difficulties here behind the scenes. Alright, and I'm back. Preface to the 2nd edition. I don't think we need that. Why is it jumping around from slide to slide so much? I wonder if okay, it's got this. Let's jump down here to the introduction. 21 years ago, in a period of incredible excitement, in a matter of days, they were to have their bar mitzvah. Unexpectedly, one of the rabbis of the staff of the temple called him into his office and said Judaism had been, okay, let's see. No believer be damned. Don't do unto others as it's scientifically, blah, blah, blah. Nah, we don't need any of that. Let's just get right into the first chapter. How about that? I'm not exactly sure why this is working the way it is. Okay, there we go. Lesson 1. Hey, go back. Yeah, there we are. Hey, go back. Why is it jumping? Why is it jumping? There it jumps. There it jumps. Okay, it's going to be slide 15. Go ahead and jump to that. And perfect. What a treat. Getting started. Like I like to quip once again, like Finnegan, I want to start by telling you that all of the fairy tales and stories about the powers of wizards. Oh, God, it jumped around again. I wonder why. It's not me doing that. No idea. At least it's back on the original page, but the PDF keeps jumping around, guys. A little bit nerve-wracking. All of the powers, all the stories and about the powers of wizards, witches, and magicians are true, but unfortunately only in part. However, although it is possible to create spells to bring yourself money, love, wisdom, commitment, and more, you must understand that unlike the magic in fairy tales and in movies, most real magic does not occur instantaneously. By way of example, if you worked a ritual to bring you money, it may take a week or two for the money to arrive. When it does, it would come only by natural means. But if you properly perform your ritual, come it must. Yeah, and so that's an interesting starting point for contemplating these mysteries. He says if you perform your ritual, come it must. Yeah. So I only tuned in fact, guys, today to respond to Lady Paranorma, Frau Schadenfreude, that the VPN for some reason just wouldn't connect. And it's been spotty for a while now, like probably going on a couple of weeks, 3 weeks. But for the last few days, probably, I think since like last Wednesday, maybe Thursday, it's been nearly non-existent. Like I was able to get it started one time today on my laptop, but not at all on my phone. Either phone, I have 2 phones, and neither phone has been able to connect. And let me see, I'll hit it again now and see if it connects. Who knows what's going on? It happens. I'll tell you, since the time I've been here behind the bamboo firewall, deep within the central kingdom of the celestial dragon and Twilight Zone, old Peking. This happens a couple of times a year, usually around like political machinations going on, whatever they're having meetings or congresses convene, that type of thing. It always seems to go out. And as long as I've seen internet and different types of things, as long as like 2 weeks maybe, that's typically the length of it. Like probably once or twice a year, it'll not connect for like 2 weeks at a time. And it's always around those types of things. Anyway, so yeah, it's usually just after that period of time, it'll all go back to normal. But during those key events, that's what's going on there, I think. Other than that, yeah, we've got some Donald Michael Craig. And okay, so the fact that he had mentioned this here, let's see, okay, yeah. That, and to recant, to recall it word for word, verbatim, so we don't get it wrong. He says, if you worked a ritual to bring you money, it may take a week or 2 for the money to arrive. But when it does arrive, it would come only by, if you properly perform your ritual, come it must. See, this is important here, right? The proper performance of ritual work. And you have to establish your own ritual magic patterns that serve you and you're able to utilize routinely with great prowess. Yeah. Potency, with the ability to get these magic done. For me personally, in being a natural magician, I discovered upon the techniques of magic probably mostly through intuition. And we're thinking the kind of intuition that the American transcendentalists talked about as, you know, the spirit of the Lord. They might encouch it, or the spirit of nature and gnosis, right, of the human being. But having done that, like I had read ritual manuscripts from, the 19th century magicians of England kind of brought most of that forward from out of the 15th and 16th century magicians, Agrippa, et al., et others, right? We won't mention everyone, of course, but reading a lot of that at a very young age. In fact, those types of books I started to probably read around 13, 14, 15, and quite a few by the time I was 16, 17. And so about that time, I had in my mind, going into it, going even earlier on, I had in my mind that what they were saying was describing how people had done it before. And that wouldn't necessarily need to be the way that people or an individual does it going forward. And that those things which had gone before and were record were at any given time weren't stock formulas like making a burger or putting together a cocktail or something of that nature, but they were just record keeping of the unique way in which that magician approached his magic, and that all of us could approach it in a unique way. And so my main thought was that it was the wizard's will or the magical intention that did all of the work, and all of the ritual performance and formula. They were all formulaic, and they were only meant to serve as setting up parameters for the magic to be guided by, so that there wouldn't be any misfirings or digressions in the wrong direction. And having thought and felt that, I believed that intuition and the magical intent, those two things, having those were enough, and you could do away with the ritual. And so to cut to the chase, I had, there was one particular ritual. I just chose one that I thought would be fun at random and performed it entirely in the astral temple, just within the realm of mind, and thinking through it and reading it over and over and over again, and memorizing it, and then carrying it out through internal visualization from memory, even without any mistakes, and doing the performance of the ritual that way. And that was enough. That was enough for the magic to, and very rapidly, in fact, in a much shorter period of time than I would have imagined. Here it says a couple of weeks, right? It might take a week or two for it to arrive, but this was very next day. Synchronicities started to fire off, and the bliss guided me to the fruition of that ritual. I won't tell you guys which one it was, but it was a lot of fun, and I've talked about it many times in the past here on YouTube. But I thought I would add that commentary to it. So yeah, well, with the VPN and the internet, yeah, it is what it is. Let me check the chat room. I got a little off topic there. Have ideas working on getting space cleared. Yeah, that me too, of course. In the room started. Oh yeah, I did the Smith Necronomicon, I believe that's what it's called, as well. I had a copy of that. The Satanic Bible by Anton LaVey. The Complete Book of Black Magic by Arthur Edward Wyatt, and not to mention almost probably everything of Crowley's, right? 777, Magic Without Tears, Liber Resh Helios, just on and on and on and on, all the books on magic, and all of Regardie's stuff, Israel Regardie, and his secretary, and et al., many others. When I first saw this manuscript, and I'll get back to it just here for a second. Let's see, add to the stage, jump slide 15, go back to slide, this one right here. I was also pretty young. I'm not exactly sure when this came out. Maybe this came out when I was in high school, 10th or 11th grade, something like that. Maybe a little earlier, I'm not sure. But I felt that it was a pretty basic primer, and just for getting the understanding of how ritual magic works. And then once you take it all into the astral temple, it makes a lot more sense. If you try to do all of this too externalized, I don't feel that it's as beneficial, but you should as well. I mean, obviously that's a part of it. So if you can get the accoutrement, the robes, the magical implements, create them, summon them, any way you can collect those things. I of course have all of them, and many others, but they can definitely help. Very good. And so we'll get back into it a little bit. The next portion here should start here. Okay. So we had finished off on this basic first page, and then the dream diary. Now, the dream diary is something I would warn people that, like, when you really get involved in dream journaling, it takes up more time than it's really worth, I think, in the long run. But yeah, you might get pulled in and write novels from Dreamland, and it can distract from your work. He says, starting right now, today, you should start keeping a diary of your dreams. When you dream, and everybody dreams, one of four things may occur. Number one, astral work. When doing astral work, you will be learning here. You will be learning toward your spiritual, psychical, and magical development, as well as practice these lessons. This occurs on what is called the astral plane. You will learn more about the Kabbalistic and magical interpretation of the astral plane in later lessons. 2, 3, and 4. 2 is psychological messages. 3 is just dream play, right? And then 4 is some combination of the above. So play, psychological messages, and magical work. Also prophetic impressions. You can see the future while dreaming, and you can travel to the future and even change future outcomes and learn about all of the various possible outcomes of decisions and how to go along different paths and make those things come to fruition. Psychological messages says many times your subconscious needs to tell you something to your conscious mind, but your conscious refuses to listen. In some dreams, the subconscious sends a message in symbols, and it's the basis for Freudian analysis. In China, they have a ancient system of analysis on dreams as well. It's called Zhougong Jiemeng, and their journals and almanacs and dictionaries of dream language and stuff. There's a whole canon of Chinese literature on dream magic and dreaming. And then number 3, play. The mind at rest may wander aimlessly, meaninglessly, and send any sort of beautiful or bizarre picture to your consciousness. And yeah, play is some of the best possible dream magic work. It's just good fun, right? I mean, why not go out there and enjoy yourself while dreaming? Our first books. Okay, and finally, just a combination of those. So play, psychological messages, and that first one was... my bad. Astral work, yeah, and magical work as well. I wouldn't make much separation if you always take lucid consciousness and with the will and power of God with you into the astral temple. I would say all of that would ascend to the height of angelic magic. And direct communication with the God force, the God particle, the cosmic world, all of it, generating endlessly through you. Yeah, let's move on here a little bit, see what else he's got to offer us in the next part. If you've never kept a diary of your dreams, you will find that it is easy. Simply get a pad of paper and leave a pencil or pen by your bed at night. When you first wake up in the morning, I would say have some water next to it too, and so a nice refreshing drink of water when you wake up, and wake yourself up throughout sleep periodically. And it's easy to do that when going to sleep early, right? Go to sleep early in the evening, 8:30, 9 o'clock if you like old folks, and then wake yourself up for a couple of hours in the evening and get another 4 or 5 hours before you get up and go to work or whatever, or get up and start your day. Works out perfect. But that's coming from the perspective of a Pisces. So Sun in Pisces is going to tell you to sleep 16 hours a day, all right, that it's good for you. When you first wake up in the morning, write down what you remember. If you remember nothing, the entry in your diary may read, "I do not choose to remember my dreams." And that is okay. Yeah. And you could do that at first, or you can use lots of other variables to filter that through. At first, you may only remember a small amount, perhaps one event or feeling. Within a month of steady practice, you will have trouble keeping your entries to less than a page. Yeah, less than a novel, really. Like, there are instances in Dreamland that are absolutely 100% timeless. And so, just to fill, like, if you wanted to put it semantically into linguistics, just to try to describe all of the revelation and sensation around you in a single moment, right? Like, all the dimensions of everything appearing in Dreamland. Like, imagine your immediate environment right now. Like, look around. And if you try to describe everything from the ground up, and like everything in detail and motion and usefulness and all of it, like, it could take a literal library just to experience one moment of life, right? And purely expanded consciousness. So yeah, quite interesting. And if you had to track every second of every being like that throughout all time, imagine the voluminous nature of it. But at the same time, the consciousness can somehow understand all of that, and it understands all of that unwritten information, unconscious, superconscious information. It understands all of it simultaneously, and that's what we call intuition, right? So that's why the transcendentalists believed that pure knowledge did in fact come from intuition in the unseen realm. So very, very good magic there. Certainly I see a little request out here. I could try this. Copy. And here you are. We'll continue forward about. I've only got a few minutes though to stick around, maybe another 20 or perhaps 30 if I'm lucky. And I thought I would do some reading with you guys and let you know why I couldn't. Yeah, and if you grab that link real quick, I'll delete it from the chat. Okay. And let me see here. Give me a second. Whoops. I can't delete it now, but I did anyway. Okay. So let's continue a little bit. Ritual diary. The next thing, did I finish that? By after there's events typically in after practicing. It seems like I missed a page. Maybe here we are. Okay, let's take an example of how this diary can be important for you. In previous paragraph, you will be talked about reading diary in years to come. Here we are. Okay. Also obtain a nice blank book or binder with blank paper into which you should transfer abbreviated notes from the bedside pad. Unless your handwriting is very legible, print your entry from the pad of papers by your bed into a new book. This will take a little longer, but in the years to come, it will make it much easier to read. I kept most of my dream journaling entirely in bound books over the years and accumulated, I don't know, man, maybe 30, 40, 50 of them at this point. Now, huge stacks of them are in different locations now because I've, been journaling over the decades, but it would be nice to put them all back together one time and write the memoirs of Frank Monday. Let's see, where do we leave off? This will be a little longer, but will take years to come, much easier to read, blah, blah, blah. In previous paragraph, you will note that I talked about reading the diary in years to come. This overview attitude is quite important, and do not at this point try to analyze each dream. Chances are you will not be able at this time to tell which of the 4 types of dreams. Yeah, I wouldn't go with that. If you're an advanced dreamer, you're looking at way more than 4 types of dreaming, right? And some of them will be dimension walks or great like location shifts, time shifts, apotheum, all different sorts of things going on. Cross over into into fairyland, right? The Feywild, as it were. Here, give me a second, guys. So he goes on to say, chances are you won't be able to time tell. Okay. Look, repeated images or changes you have read. Yeah, pattern recognition, remembering in dreams. Please, please, please stay away from all those ridiculous meanings of dream books. Let me give you an example of how this diary can be important for you. One of his students had been frequently chased by soldiers and running, hiding. She had dreams such as these several times a month and would wake up in a cold sweat, terrified. And then, whoops, not good. Should be right. It's not right. This is right. Okay. For her, the dream was a version of events which had happily happened to her in her life. But after practicing some of the protection rituals from the lessons, her dreams, she said, began to change. She no longer would hide and almost discovered and raped. Instead, she would make her escape. For her, an old mental block which manifested in the fear of men was broken down. Blah, blah, blah. This presented change. Observe the change in your dreams over time. That doesn't leave off with much finality in writing there. Let me see here. I'm trying to read the chat, guys. Give me a second. Animals. I have an astral. Yeah, it's good stuff. Hold on. Here we go. Okay, I could try to do that. I don't use any. I'm not gonna talk that just right this second. Go back to the comment section. Okay, so I responded in the private chat. As far as apps go, I don't use that many that I think would touch to the States. One series of Dreamland encounters that I think is relevant for the young magician is there were years when some shadow creatures would show up, like the Hat Man and these hellhounds, like super dark hellhounds with flaming eyes and terrify and chase. And at the same time, I was learning magic and kung fu, and I noticed that both had the same effect. Kung fu, after more and more years and years of training, I would be able to utilize in Dreamland. And if something happened to me, like an attack by a demonic force or whatever I was battling to make different transitions in the Dreamland, those things would gradually start to be employed. So more and more, my conscious attention would be able to become aware while dreaming. And so I could do the things that I would normally do in the real world, right? And I noticed that things would start to transfer over too. So if I bought a sword as like a young man and practicing sword forms in the prime material plane, then I would suddenly have a sword in Dreamland if I wanted one. I could just think of it and it would appear. And then I would have the direct connection to the things within the waking world and different ritual implements that I attained, like a wooden fish. It's a little drum for like gonging and keeping pace in order to meditation, to set a certain tone, and of course a gong. I bought myself a gong, and each one of these items would appear to me in Dreamland and have a very different effect in that realm than they do in our realm. Like I remembered the gong, like when I would hit it, everything would blink out and blur and send like ripples of water out in all directions, and like the entire cosmos. And then tornadoes would appear like that. Vortices would appear within that and create different things in different places of like time and dimension and in the future. The wooden fish would generate like an egg of energy that would surround its area. So when you're pounding it, you're in that egg of energy, and it would drive out certain lower level vectors out of that sphere. And that sphere extended above and below the magician, and many other things, like of course the fire wand and the athama and the water cup, and all of those had far different effects in Dreamland than they did in the waking world. But ritual magic in particular, after opening the astral temple and doing the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram for many, I don't know how long or when it started to occur in Dreamland, but then I could summon a let's say 4K, 8K, 16K, ultra real visualization these things in Dreamlands. So I'd be cruising around, in my regular dream body, and whatever encounter or something negative force, or after having learned and done different things, like then the magical circle would appear at will, and I could, and I'm not going to give the exact give me a second, man. This thing's going bananas over here. Okay, good. All of the specifics, right? Because each individual magician needs to figure it out on their own. But you could drive back things or change things, and all of your sigil magic and visualization in the prime material plane would transfer over into Dreamland in such a like crazy more powerful way. Let's see here. Blah blah blah. When I'm trying to keep my line of focus, but we just wanted yeah, I've got those things, but for some reason, no problem. I've got all of those apps, but for some reason they won't reload on my phone anymore because I was blocked out of my Apple account on this particular phone, and it's the only one that could download apps from outside of from the US, from outside of China. And the other phone I have, it doesn't have that function at all. You can't download anything on it because it was purchased here, and you can't download anything on it from outside of here. Like the US App Store won't open. And so none of the apps on my current phone, the only phone I have those on, is not able to like install them or onboard them. So the icons are on the phone, but I can't actually like re-download or open them. The ones I can, like I use all the time, of course, YouTube Studio, the VPN I have. Facebook isn't even downloaded anymore. It's just sitting there. It's empty. Let's see, the coffee one I think I could still use. And then Discord, it was like 2 weeks ago. Like Discord won't work on my phone now anymore. So those things, they keep way more tighter control on that here than they do in the States, which is funny. What about different dreams? Have you had different dreams where you experience different miraculous? I'll give you an example of that, like being able to move, like swimming. And okay, so say you start swimming and you fall in, you have a drowning dream, but then that dream evolves to being able to float in the water, and then suddenly you can breathe water, right? And say maybe this happens over a course of many consecutive times of having the specific dream. And now you can travel through water very quickly and encounter all of the different entities that live within water. And then, of course, after that, through air and space and even through Earth itself. So the four elements, you can transpose through them at will, because you're in an ethereal body, essentially, right? Your astral body has an ethereal form, and it can pass even faster and easier than etheric matter can itself, because it's not your etheric body. Yeah, no problem. I can check the chat. I've trying to alternate back and forth between the public chat and the private chat. So if I miss something, just let me know, and don't be discouraged, because I am keeping up with a little bit of this study too, right, from the ritual diary. Okay. So for example, in the Kabbalistic Cross, we do the visualization of growing taller and taller, right, and towering above your city, above your country, above the world, and then connecting with the cosmos and growing even, Titan size into the cosmos itself, until the earth beneath you just becomes so insignificant in size that it's so beneath, and your head's up among the stars, right, and then you even go above the stars, and the stars are at like neck level. And then you're connecting with the Ein Sof directly, and you see that coming in, the limitless light and the expression of the limitless light. And so after having done that as ritual work and then taking that into Dreamland, you dream of becoming a giant in various situations, and also dreaming of becoming infinitesimally minuscule as well, and going down to the microscopic level, and interacting with the beings and denizens that live and dwell there. And so on each of these dimensions and shifting through them, that's what's available in dream work, right? It's a really, really powerful thing. Let's see, we'll go on a little bit and move into the ritual diary. Okay, so starting later in the lesson, be given rituals to perform at least once daily. They should never take more than half an hour when you're learning them, much less time when they're memorized. In another book, you should keep a ritual diary on the following page. See, that's the difference. Like, I'll easily, willingly, routinely, not every day now, but most of the time, do both ritual work and kung fu work for far in excess of an hour each, right? Like, I'll like to go down and do a couple of hours of kung fu, maybe an hour in the early part of the day from within the dorm or in a parked area, as long as the air quality is not bad. When the air quality gets too bad, you better to avoid any type of physical activity, right? Just stay silent and do not move and wait, and don't breathe, and just wait for the air quality to get better. Yeah, but when the air quality is better, you can do a lot of good activity, kung fu, dance, this kind of thing. Let's see, all the data he says is listed important. On the following page is suggested format for your diary. You may wish to make copies and a binder and simply tear them out. Yeah, so on and so forth. Yeah, so we've probably seen this all before. Phase of the moon, etc., etc. So here's some basic stuff. I wouldn't go to this extent. I would just learn to write it. You know, you could write down a few of the things: date and time, phase of the moon, phase of the sun. Keep those in just symbols, right? Most of this can be boiled down into the symbols of the zodiac and the elements and different stuff like this, and other forms of shorthand. You should definitely create, your own system of icons, emojis, right, and shorthand to help you with tracking all of these things. I could show you even, guys, some of my recent tracking, like just to show you how I do it. But I've shown it a lot of times in the past on my channel, so yeah, you could see that from any of my magic videos. You'll see me journaling. One last thing about rituals, you should not do the ritual 7 times in one day and forget doing them for the rest of the week. Well, there are different rituals with different patterns. So some rituals you may be doing 7 times a day, right? Or some prayers, like for me, Liber Helios, of course, the 4 adorations, then the adoration of Abraxas. So they're already probably, more than 15 times the prayer per day. But once you've memorized them, you can say them anytime you want, as many times you want, like mudras. Let's see here. Some you do for 7 days at a time for 7 weeks, and there are 7 different invocations, and altogether you start the first week of invocations, and so it'll be a week and once per day. That's 7 times. As you go into the second 7-day cycle, you add another one, so now you're doing 2 for 14 days and 3 for 21, and then all the way up to 49 days, and ultimately you're doing 7 of them, right, and all from memory. So yeah, that's some higher level ritual incantations right there. Let's look at the 2 things here. As a result, given this many times, blah blah blah. So number 1, you slightly different view of the subject matter. I make no claim about being a guru or divine master, so you can get more in-depth study of a particular subject which interests you. Yeah, this is what the 100-day challenge is all about right here, man. These 2 things, guys. So you do not need to buy any book, but good books that you could look into: Golden Dawn, Hermetic Teachings. I never recommended reading too much of Crowley's stuff unless you're an advanced student. As a entry level, Rider-Waite Tarot, definitely a useful addition. That way we're all speaking the same vocabulary, right? Shared system of symbols. Let's see, where do we get to here? 20. Okay. So here, deck's not acceptable for the course. Yeah, the Crowley Thoth deck. Interesting that he finds that symbolism too advanced for beginners. If you're not a beginner, I would agree with that. The first time I was introduced to the Crowley deck, I was probably about 15. maybe a little. And I thought it was way too complex for me. I was having a hard time getting my head. I got my first Rider White tarot deck when I was probably 13, and I was having, had to get my head around that one to start off with, and just a couple of years of studying it probably isn't enough. Let's see, what do we get here? Yeah, the relaxation ritual. Of course, this is the type of hypnotic adventure I put people through every time I do a basic hypnotic induction video, right? So inhale, hold, exhale, relax. Let the relaxation enter you from above and go all the way down through your body, right? Through each of the various centers and the accompanying manifestations of the physical form that are there, creating spheres of energy and color, scintillating light, making connections between them. All right, visualize the entire hermetic tree of life on your body and being able to send pulses of energy from sphere to sphere and light up certain spheres together and in harmony, and to light up the entire tree of life and send the lightning strike all the way down it into manifestation. Always good magic. So after the relaxation ritual, got a bit of definition of magic. I don't think anyone here needs to read that per se. I would imagine everyone has a pretty clear understanding of magic with a K. Yeah, so there's a lot there. I think I'll leave it there with that, though, because it is getting close to the bottom of the hour. I would like to thank everyone for tuning in, and make sure to remind you to check me out on buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. I will put the syllabus up there as soon as my VPN connects. Sadly, guys, launching first day of the 100-day challenge, Pathways of Psionic Agents, and the VPNs aren't working at all. Once they do, though, I will upload I'll send out an email to everyone who is a member at the coffee page. It'll go out to, I think there are 15 members. Yeah, so visiting the coffee page one time, yeah, you can get that email. I usually send out one a month, but I'll send out quite a few more with the 100-day challenge. Pathways are ways of the psionic agent, so definitely keep up with that. And I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. I can finish with the invocation of total integration from the Universal Society of the Integral Way. Grandmaster Ni Ching. And it goes, if you know it, say it with me. E-R. Heaven and earth are the spontaneous manifestations of the subtle, wondrous universal law. As the original oneness expresses itself, gross and subtle energies become distinctly divided. My bodily cave is brightly illuminated by the mysterious light from the three Dantian bridge points leading to immortality. The powerful spirits of the 8 directions conjoin my being with the true origin of life. By the absolute order of the divine Ling Bao in the highest 9th heaven, send the positive energies of Qianluo, Dana, Dunkan, and Taishuan to destroy my spiritual obstacles and debilitate any evil influence. This order is given by the highest sovereignty. It is a jade oracle from the subtle origin. I invoke with strong sincerity to drive away the demons and evils and lengthen my healthy years. The attained spirits respond. The evil demon king Mo Wong is chained to stand as my guard and servant. The powerful atmosphere has been generated, dispersing all negativity. The Chi of Tao is everlasting. So it is commanded and confirmed. So mote it be. Amen. Yes, indeed, guys. I remind you, Pathways of Psionics, or Way of the Psychic Agent. Get on board with it. Check it out. And leave a comment on the video. Hit the thumbs up. All that fun stuff that makes the old algorithms pant and moan and drool and bark like Pavlov's dog. Until next time, Wayfarer, ad astra per aspera, keep doing good magic.